Thank you for spending this time with me and considering the future direction for the Christian Church in Nebraska. This PowerPoint is really a dual PowerPoint. It serves to help me go through our regional report to the General Church Board, but also for our upcoming regional church board meeting itself. When I think about planning, I want to think about it in terms of form and function, and I love Frank Lloyd Wright's quote here that form and function should be one, joined in spiritual union, not form follows function. In the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in 1968, we said the primary nature of regions is to engage congregations as unique entities related to one another. It also says that we're in covenant with one another. And in covenant, we have some accountabilities that we need to hold each other to. I think Terry Hort Owens does an amazing job of helping us to consider that sense of covenant. In 1970, our regions looked one way. In 2020, they look very different. And I am grateful to my colleagues in regional ministry in helping create this list that is a side-by-side comparison. In 2019, we in the Nebraska region looked at the life cycle of the regional ministry or middle judicatory through the lens of swimmers. And we decided that we as a region are someplace between needing a lifeguard and beginning to become more vigorous swimmer and realize we might be fooling ourselves, that we're not either of those things. Well, in fact, we are needing to let go of some things before we can begin to explore new ideas. And so we're in this transition, and it's an uncomfortable, discomforting place to stand. And we think William Bridges does a good job of exploring that question. So we came up with the question, what would an awesome region look like? And have come up with these 4 responses so far, but that was in March of 2020, just as COVID was beginning to show itself in our society, in our culture, in our country. So since then, I've had time to ruminate and consider what is the purpose of the Christian Church in Nebraska, in my opinion. This is just a beginning thought, to bring discipline in our personal and communal lives as we accompany one another and our neighbors. And then I list 5 questions that spring forth for me, that bring life for me, that are animating around that sense of purpose. I also began to explore, so what form, what structure would fit that kind of purpose or function? And I came up with 4 centers. They do not include all of our 12 or 15 committees, commissions, and work groups. But alongside the region is Cotner College. And Cotner College is a real institution that no longer has a building, but continues to serve our educational purposes. And so we are beginning to draft a purpose statement for Cotner College, and this is what we've come up with so far. It's in your reports. And then within that sense of purpose is, what would we be doing? Where will we focus our energies and our time and our resources? And we've come up with 5 possible future directions that still have to be explored further with that planning group. Alongside Cotner College is Kaleo on the River, our camp and conference center in partnership with the United Church of Christ. And UCCR has helped us to explore our viability. And so we're in the midst of that planning process. And then finally, our region is in conversation with Kansas and Kansas City around a tri-region partnership to explore possibilities for cooperation, networking, collaborating, and even possibly merging so that we can better serve our local churches and their vitality. No matter what we do, as we come back to that question of form and function, my hope is that we will emphasize our need and desire. I hope it's our desire to be exploratory and interactive. Now, we're not always going to be exploratory and interactive. We're going to move from quadrant to quadrant to quadrant to quadrant at different times in the cycle. But if we can always remind ourselves to remain open and listening, to exploring and being interactive, let this unfold and be iterative, to trust God as we move into our future. Thank you.